Hello, good evening, and welcome back. We're dishing out white pills this evening. Victories for free speech. 3 separate articles. First, a win for Dr. Jordan B. Peterson with his new book. It's actually going ahead through Random House Canada, despite the pushback from the employees, which are just sobbing their eyes out because, oh my god, somebody is actually suggesting that men aren't evil. That can't be allowed. Secondly, unfair dismissal for a border force officer who was sacked for calling his black colleague King of the Jungle, as in lion or kingpin, yes, but oh no, he was sacked for that June 2018, a couple of years ago. He wins £16,000 for unfair dismissal payout, as judge rules his remark wasn't racist. How much of that will go to the solicitors? How much back pay will he get? Who knows, but it was a governmental agency, so at least he's won it, finally. And lastly, a Jeremy Corbyn supporter burst into tears as he is spared jail after calling Jewish Labour MP Margaret Hodge a racist Zionist in terrifying anti-Semitic trolling campaign. And this one's a bit more tenuous, but hey, we've got to try and be principled across the board. So, firstly, success for Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Yes, who is revered by fans for his refusal to bow down to political correctness. Got it in one. And the main thing that people wish to focus on is the misrepresentation to suggest, of course, that he's transphobic. And he quite obviously isn't. As he says, that the point that he's trying to make is not about transsexuals or any of their issues in the slightest. His point is compelled speech of Bill C-16 in Canada, which was unconstitutional at the time, because it meant that you couldn't avoid saying something. You were actually compelled to say something that you do not necessarily believe in. And he would always draw the delineation where he wanted it down to the individual to decide. So if he had transgender students, by all means he would have a conversation with them in order to decide what they would like to be called, and if it's respectful, then he would go along with it. But when it comes down to just mandating it from the top down of what you must call other people, then he refused to do so. But for those of you interested, his new book is for pre-order now, out next March 21st, I believe. So get on it. March 22nd. So, next up, Border Force officer sacked for calling black colleague King of the Jungle wins £16,000 unfair dismissal payout as judge rules his remarks wasn't racist. Senior border officer who was sacked after calling a black colleague King of the Jungle has won more than £16,000, only just, after a tribunal ruled his remark wasn't racist. The point was, at the time, that the married father of 3 was dismissed by the Home Office after an investigation found that others who overheard it winced at the offensiveness of the comment. And bear in mind that the gentleman on the receiving end of this wasn't fussed at all, and apparently later on that they couldn't find any other complaints that had been raised at the time, so we're not really sure how this started out. But then they tried to look at, what else has he said? He's called some of his colleagues Pakis. And then investigation into it went, no, this isn't clear, it could be Pakistani instead. I was like, okay, but he's referred to Vietnamese people as gooks. No, again, this is unsubstantiated. Okay, fine. He doesn't want to hire fat women. This sounds very much like Katie Hopkins. Maybe he just doesn't want to hire people who aren't disciplined. Is that not allowed? It's a reflection of self. Yes, the lockdown has taken a toll on us all, but it's also a good idea to then still get your life together. Maybe you need to order Dr. Jordan B. Peterson's new book. But the painful thing for himself, given that it took 2.5 years for this to come to light and eventually have his payout, is, of course, as he goes on to say, that trying to find a new job after being dismissed and explaining that, I got fired for being a racist from the Home Office. Well, that doesn't really go down well in interviews, trying to explain that, because, the Home Office can't make mistakes. They're the government. Well, evidently they can, but this, again, very similar to false rape accusations, are the kind of thing which really screw over somebody's life permanently, because then it gets him out of the loop for his career. He's then got to start again, take what he can get, and try and then get back on with the back payments for things like his mortgage, of course, and he has a wife and 3 children to take care of. He's 47 years of age, so let us hope that he has had savings before that in order to pull upon, not that he should have needed to have done so. But these investigations always take so long, and then you've got presumption of guilt as he was dismissed, and that makes his life incredibly difficult. So, hey, finally, thank goodness, he's won over. Has he been reinstated? No. Would he want to be? Probably not. Does this kind of thing happen in other places and we never hear about it because it doesn't get to a tribunal because people don't appeal it? Yes, definitely. Will it continue to do so unless a big change is made? Yes, it definitely will. Are restrictions on speech helpful? Not at all. So lastly, from the other side of the aisle, Jeremy Corbyn supporter burst into tears as he is spared jail after calling Jewish Labour MP Margaret Hodge a racist, Zionist and terrifying anti-Semitic trolling campaign. Gone after 3 people, and he has sent abusive messages and texts saying, "I hope you die, you Tory cunt," for example, and "when will you have a stroke?" This kind of thing, and being a racist Zionist. These are quotes from what he said. And yeah, we can all agree that it's probably not somebody that you would like to have a friendly chat with. Were any of them threats of, "I'm going to kill you"? No. Is wishing somebody would die a threat? No, it's not very nice, but hoping somebody will die is probably your own problem to get sorted out, but isn't a threat. Has he been sentenced for this before? Yes, he has. A couple of years ago. Suspended sentence for a year. Is this just more of the same from the same time frame? Yes, it is. So again, suspended sentence. And that's the reasoning. But it got to the point, of course, where after saying, "Margaret should fuck off, you fucking racist Zionist cunt. You need to get out of the party, and I hope you die, you Tory cunt." And in a further phone call the same day, Nelson added, "Margaret Hodge is an apartheid, supporting, disgusting, scumbag, bitch." In response, Dame Margaret said in a victim impact statement, "I consider the emails to be threatening," but they're not, and was left feeling nervous and unsure about my personal safety. And I sympathise, it's a horrible position to be in and nobody wants to be in that position. But were any of them threatening? No. And she says, "Oh, for the first time, I now feel under threat because of my Jewish identity." Well, of course, you've got to bring that in because you know it's a protected characteristic. You could also bring in the fact that you're female. That also tends to help. But no. And Lord Mann received an abusive phone message played in court on September 3rd, 2018, which said, "Kill yourself. When are you going to have a stroke?" In a sentencing, Nelson, magistrates Mr. Ikram, yes, Mr. Ikram, sentencing about anti-Jewish behaviour. I wonder how that's going to go for Mr. Ikram. Said he would not repeat the words used, adding they are the most vulgar, obscene, threatening vocabulary I can think of. He said, "I'm of the view these offences are so serious that they cross the custody threshold." Okay, they're really serious. People should feel able to come forward and serve as MPs without fear of violence and threat. Certain communities have felt particularly under threat. Let's not put any of your projection over there, Mr. Ikram. But yes, MPs should be able to come forward without fear of violence and threat. There wasn't any here, though. But he said, and these courts will send a clear message to those who threaten members of those communities, no threat here, who attack them because of their faith, no attacking there. So, because of all this, how terrible it is, the judge said that he would have jailed Nelson had he sentenced him for all of the offences in 2018, but he added, "I've considered carefully whether I can suspend the sentences, and I felt just about able to do so. That doesn't take away the seriousness of the offences. If they're that serious, then it should not be a suspended sentence. But they're not that serious, because, yeah, they suck as phone calls, and hey, this chap needs help, and it seems that he is getting psychiatric assistance, which is fantastic, good for him. But also, if he's a known guy like that, then by all means, cut ties if you don't wish to be associated with him. And for the people on the receiving end, say, yeah, there's this chap. He doesn't really seem to be providing any help. So how about we just stop this harassment? If there's continuous harassment, then, of course, you go down the restraining order route. If, after this, you say, well, you can't target these people anymore, they don't appreciate it, you can't force your association with them, please leave them alone, and he doesn't, then by all means take it further then. But just initially, Yep, none of us like what he said here. Is it a threat? No. Is it within the realms of freedom of speech, even as abhorrent as it is? Yes. Should this have even gone to court? No. Unless there's far more to it than is being reported. No. But, as always, let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think, well, no. We are not going to be tolerant of the hard left after what they've been doing, and any victory we can get is a good one? Or do you think, no, we should be principled and say, no, if you're hating somebody and wish to express that hate, but you're not threatening them, then by all means, go ahead. Either way, let me know down below. Always intrigued to you guys have to say. And hey, good wins for Dr. John B. Peterson and, of course, the Border Force officer, John Gold. And as always, until next time, have a good one.